morning to all of you. Javier Cremades, president of the World Jurist Association and the World Law Foundation. José Luis Martínez-Almeida, mayor of Madrid. Presidents and justices of the Constitutional and Supreme Courts of Albania, Germany, Guatemala, Iraq, Poland, Slovenia, Spain, the United States, and Uruguay, and delegates from more than 24 countries who gather here today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the World Jurist Association's tribute to Anthony Kennedy, Senior Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, and an example to all of us, defenders and promoters of the rule of law worldwide. I am Patricia Refo. I am a former president of the American Bar Association, and I am pleased to be your host today. We will start this session with the opening remarks of Javier Cremades, president of the World Jurist Association and the World Law Foundation. Javier.
Thank you. Good morning. Patricia, there is a space for you, Patricia Refo. If you want, there is a space for you here. But first of all, let me welcome all of you that come from so many different countries. Mr. Mayor of Madrid, Deborah, past president of the American Bar Association, Patricia Refo, Vivian Redding, vice president of the World Law Foundation, Egon Levitz, my friend from Latvia. I was explaining to the mayor that is the only European has been serving in the two European Courts of Justice and European Court of Human Rights, and presidents of the Constitutional Courts of Dominican Republic, of Guatemala, of Iraq, of Poland, of Slovenia, and of Germany. So thank you very much. My friend Victor Olea, president of the Mexican Bar Association, my friend Roberto Valdez, the trustees of the World of Foundations, Milton Rey Guevara, Javier González, Gianpaolo Zambelletti, all the trustees as you are here, Luis Javier Luján, Javier Jaramillo. So Kim Quarles, vice president of the World Jurist Association. It's a big honor to have you, all of you here. And let me share with you 3 points, which we are going to do today. I think we are connecting two ideas. The first one being the campaign that started a few years ago, 60 years ago, for the rule of law, trying to federate and connect together jurists from around the globe. So we had incredible people like Charlie Ryan, like L. Warren, who believed in a world ruled by laws and not by force. And they did something at that time where the world was threatened by a nuclear holocaust, by a nuclear disaster. At that time, the world was dangerous, but probably was a bit simpler than it is today. So we have the Iron Curtain, and one side of the Iron Curtain were the good guys, the people that had the rule of law, and the other side of the curtain were the people that were restricting rights of the people, restricting liberties, and restricting human dignity. These persons, Charlie Ryan and L. Warren, decided to work together with them and to establish a campaign together with them. And they developed, Marisa, you have a place here. They develop congresses on the other side of the Iron Curtain in Moscow, in Beijing, in Berlin, on the other side of the wall, on the DDR, on the German Democratic Republic. And it was a great time because they were just campaigning and showing, first of all, that the people of law could talk to each other even if they have different systems. But secondly, that there is a better way to live, which was the rule of law. It's not a perfect way to live, but it's a system where the human being is at the center and the public power is limited in its exercise and only is legitimate if it's under the Constitution, under the laws. So that's the first point. We are continuing this campaign today. It's our generation. It's the mayor, who is an attorney himself. He's a prominent attorney. He's a wall of architects of the rule of law. Professor Peter Heberle said that every citizen contributes to the construction and existence and the reality of the rule of law. So a democracy is not just run by elites. It's sustained by the support of the people. So we are in this small room, these 100 people that we are here, we're ambassadors and architects of the rule of law and need to be contagious about this idea, is that if power is not limited by laws, power will extend, will try to be perpetuated, and will corrupt. So we need a system where a constitution runs the life of a country of the citizens, a real constitution. The second point is that today we are rendering tribute to Anthony Kennedy. It's not just Anthony Kennedy. It's not himself as a prominent justice of the US Supreme Court. It's the idea that this institution, the World Jurist Association, was promoted by an American Bar Association chairman, Charlie Ryan. We have here 2 chairwomen of this association. He's still the youngest ever. I don't know if he was 35, 34 when he was elected. And L. Warren, at that time, Chief Justice. He was humble enough to engage in a project that was small at the beginning. And the first Congress of the World Jurists was held in Athens in 1963. They elected Athens as a recognition to the roots, Vasilis Mortakidis, of the system of laws, of the thoughts of Aristotle and Plato and all these big thinkers that were quoted in that Congress. By the way, that Congress was opened by the grandfather of the Spanish King Felipe VI, who will be meeting with us tomorrow. So this institution, the Supreme Court, felt at that time the responsibility that, welcome, Mr. President. This institution felt at the time the responsibility of being the first court on earth. For me, the second court on earth is sitting here. It's the Bundesverfassungsgericht. But for sure, Supreme Court has an incredible influence. So today we will hear the speech on video of the President of the Supreme Court, of the Chief Justice of the U.S., John Roberts, who will connect with L. Warren at that time. So he will explain this afternoon that he's campaigning in the same way that L. Warren did. We are all doing the same thing. That's the second point. So the U.S. Supreme Court is, as you know, not a perfect institution, but they run the largest and the most old and experienced democracy in the world, facing, by the way, almost the same threats or even bigger threats than any other democracy in the world. So that's the second point. First point, we're continuing that campaign. Second point, we're recognizing the role of the Supreme Court of the United States, which is probably a role model for not just for the achievements, but also for the threats and the mistakes as well. And thirdly, my last point is we need to connect the threats that we are engaged with, the threats that we are living today in our systems. We saw what happened in the UK with the Brexit. We saw what happened with the Prime Minister saying the Speaker of the government to the BBC, starting to say that many people say in the UK that judges are biased. And we saw the Daily Mail cover speaking about judges as enemies of the people. And we saw the reaction of the British society saying, you don't make misunderstandings to the people about the independence of the judiciary. You are attacking the rule of law. We live in a world and our lifestyle is sustained by a pillar, which is the rule of law. So you please don't do that. Everybody was just reacting. We're seeing what is happening right now in Brazil, what is happening right now in the US, what is happening right now in Israel. And I don't refer, of course, to the wars, which is the most terrible thing. I am referring about the debates inside the society, the division, the complication of running a democracy, where the truth is missing, and the possibility of living in a world where public opinion is running as sovereign. The system is getting much more difficult, where polarization is killing us because it's not just dividing us, it's sometimes confronting us and bringing us even into conflict, permanent conflict. We saw what happened when the system is totally destroyed in Venezuela or in Nicaragua. We saw that a constitution, a true constitution, can be destroyed. And it's not destroyed from one shot. It's destroyed through a process. And this process had started everywhere, and we need to just, as a sickness, we need the good therapy. And the good therapy, in my view, is education. And the only way we can go there is citizens get conscious that they need to defend the only systems that protect their own dignity. So that's all about what we're going to do today and tomorrow. And I hope we had good discussions, and we had the most important thing I remember, Mayor, this all started in 2017 when we had this proceso in Catalonia, very complicated. Then we called our brothers from the World Jurist to come to Madrid in 2019 to organize the World Law Congress. And we put the king on the center to say, okay, this is a full democracy, this is a strong democracy, and the king represents a rule of law state that has been for 40 years developing peace through law. After that, we decided to establish in Madrid the World Law Foundation and to work together with the World Jurist, which is established in Washington, D.C. From then, Madrid becomes, every 2 years, the center of a powerful meeting of powerful leaders of the law. 2 years later, in 21, we had the first Ruth Bader Ginsburg Awards. Again, with Felipe VI, who was presiding these awards. And I remember that Chief Justice from Canada, my friend Robert Wagner, came, and he said to me, you know why I came? I came because I don't know my Latin American friends, and I want to meet them and learn from them. They didn't know each other. So the Chief Justice from Canada didn't know the Chief Justice from Mexico or from Argentina or from Chile. And probably that's the same here. We have here the Chief Justices from 12 different countries, and I hope that you have the chance to do it. 2 years later, in 2023, in May last year, we had another big gathering. We offer the World Peace and Liberty Award to Andrew Young in this room. We were opening this room. Again, the World Peace and Liberty Award awardee, Felipe Gesto, was presiding this meeting. Our mayor was in campaign, who was elected, and but he was following what is happening. And right now, 1 year later, we're having again incredible summit of leaders of the world, of the law, of the rule of law. So very happy to have you from the Middle East, from America, from Europe, from Asia. And let's campaign, let's work together. Let's try to help any jurist in the world to reconnect with their purpose. And their purpose is not anyone that to promote human dignity and human liberty. And the only way to do that is that we all live governed by laws, by good laws. So let me finish in Spanish. Un placer, querido alcalde.
It's a pleasure,
Deborah,
Mayor.
os debemos mucho a esta
Deborah,
institución.
we owe you
La
a lot
American Bar
to this
Association
institution.
inventó
The American Bar
esta
Association
especie de
invented this,
movimiento
sort of,
mundial para
world
federar,
movement to,
conectar y animar a los juristas del mundo a que propusieran la paz a través del derecho como un modelo de vida para toda la humanidad. Y si en los tiempos de la Guerra Fría aquello era necesario, en los tiempos de esta complejidad donde las autocracias están penetrando las democracias y están haciendo muy difícil el gobierno de las leyes y están aumentando la polarización y dificultando que la opinión pública se forme a través de una información verdadera, en esos momentos más que nunca tenemos que recordar que la educación y la conexión con ese propósito es fundamental. Madrid, desde el año 2019, tiene una fundación mundial que se dedica a promover el Estado de Derecho y cada año está convocando a un grupo de líderes que hoy se encuentran aquí muy bien representados por presidentes de Cortes Supremas de países tan diversos como Alemania, como la República Dominicana, como Eslovenia, como Polonia, como Irak, países realmente que tienen situaciones políticas muy diferentes, pero todas tienen una constitución y tienen ese activo fundamental que deben preservar. Gracias, damos comienzo a esta sesión y tienen, como digo, por delante 48 horas para seguir conociéndose, seguir conectando, aprender unos de otros y seguir promoviendo el Estado de Derecho en el mundo. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Javier. You always inspire us when you remind us the purpose for this gathering every year. Our guest of honor, Justice Anthony Kennedy, wanted to welcome all of you here this morning, and we have video remarks from him at this time. Could you play the tape? Thank you. We thank Justice Kennedy for those warm opening remarks, and we look forward to hearing from him later today as well. It is now my great privilege to introduce my dear friend and law sister, Deborah Enix-Ross, the immediate past president of the American Bar Association. Deborah.
Gracias. Buenos dias. That's all of my Spanish. I like to tell people I understand enough Spanish to get into trouble, but not enough to get out of trouble. So we don't want any trouble here today. Thank you, President Cremades, Javier, for this invitation to speak at this extraordinary event. And a tribute to U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. So as has been said, I stand before you as the immediate past president of the American Bar Association, which is the world's largest voluntary organization of lawyers, judges, and legal professionals. And it is an honor and a privilege to be here with my sister in the law, truly a sister, Patricia Refo, who, as you know, is a past ABA president. In February 2020, shortly before COVID, the World Law Foundation came to the ABA's Washington, D.C. office, our headquarters, to present Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg with its Peace and Justice Award. The ABA was proud to host this special event, not only for our joy in honoring Justice Ginsburg in her presence, but also because the event was a homecoming for the World Law Foundation and the World Jurist Association. These now independent organizations, as we've heard, came forth from the World Peace Law Through Law initiative of ABA President Charles Rines in 1958. President Rine is also famous for his other signature initiative known as Law Day, a day recognized every year on May 1st, when in the U.S., school children and citizens, bar associations, and judicial systems throughout the U.S. celebrate the rule of law with educational and community events. Law Day has thrived ever since President Rine's vision 65 years ago, and we're thrilled to experience here today the continuing of those ideas through this World Peace Law initiative. The ABA joins nations and bar associations everywhere in standing forthright for the rule of law. The ABA Rule of Law initiative promotes justice, economic opportunity, and human dignity through the rule of law. The ROLI, as we call it, was established in 1990. It was meant to be a short-term pro bono project to advise on new laws and constitutions in a handful of Central European countries after the fall of the Berlin Wall. But today, our efforts through volunteers and staff are part of a global organization operating in more than 50 countries on 5 continents. And why do I mention ROLI? Because I'm thrilled that we are honoring Justice Anthony Kennedy, who served as one of our representatives on the ABA ROLI. So the connection between Justice Kennedy and the rule of law is deep and true within the ABA. We are so fortunate to have had him involved in our efforts, because one of the core values of the ABA is to advance the rule of law by increasing public understanding and respect for the rule of law, the legal process, and the role of the legal profession, not only in the United States, but throughout the world. So let me thank all of you. As friends, we come together at the World Jurist Association, first for your hospitality, but for your important work and programs that we are doing here today. It is important that all of us throughout the world stand together to promote justice under the rule of law, and I am proud to be a part of this conversation. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Madam President. And to close these opening remarks, it is our great honor to welcome José Luis Martínez-Almeida, the Mayor of Madrid. Welcome, Mr. Mayor. The floor is yours.
Presidente de la World Jurist Association, querido Javier, presidente del Tribunal Constitucional Federal de Alemania, Stephen Harvard, vicepresidenta del World Law Foundation, Vivian Reed, presidenta de la Bar Association y expresidenta de la Bar Association, autoridades, juristas, representantes de diversos tribunales constitucionales en el mundo, señoras y señores, permítanme decir que es un honor para mí, como alcalde de Madrid, poder inaugurar estas jornadas, estas 48 horas apasionantes en las que se va a debatir precisamente sobre la base y la esencia de la convivencia en la que organizamos nuestras sociedades y, por tanto, la primacía del Estado de Derecho, el rule of law, y más en un mundo en el que la incertidumbre es constante. Posiblemente no hemos vivido en un mundo tan incierto, con tantos peligros y numerosos interrogantes desde la finalización de lo que se denominó la Guerra Fría, y sin embargo teniendo pocas certidumbres. Hay una que es absolutamente esencial si queremos seguir progresando como sociedad y si queremos seguir fortaleciendo nuestra democracia, que es precisamente la vigorización y el fortalecimiento del Estado de Derecho. Y por tanto, querido Javier, a quien tengo que agradecer especialmente como alcalde de Madrid y a ti como madrileño que pasees el nombre de esta ciudad por todo el mundo en defensa del Estado de Derecho, estas 48 horas que se van a desarrollar a partir de este momento es un motivo de esperanza y de confianza en el futuro del conjunto de la humanidad. Por dos razones. En primer lugar, por el increíble, permítanme que se lo diga, talento jurídico que hay reunido en esta sala y, por tanto, por el increíble talento que está aquí reunido para diseñar un futuro y un mundo mejor. Y, en segundo lugar, porque el mensaje que se transmite al conjunto de la ciudadanía y, por tanto, sobre la necesidad de seguir trabajando sobre la base de la convivencia, sobre el Estado de Derecho. Y por eso, para la ciudad de Madrid, como digo, es un honor poder inaugurar estas jornadas. ¿Por qué? Porque nunca debemos dar por supuesto el Estado de Derecho, la democracia o la Constitución como cúspide de nuestro ordenamiento jurídico, sino que cada día tenemos que saber que son más los enemigos precisamente de este modelo de convivencia y, por tanto, que cada día tenemos que incrementar aún más el esfuerzo que cada uno, desde nuestra posición en la sociedad, desde la posición en la que ocupemos, debemos hacer, porque no dar nada por supuesto es el camino más corto, más eficaz y mejor para poder seguir incrementando precisamente nuestra confianza en el Estado de Derecho y, por tanto, nuestra confianza en el futuro como sociedad. Y por eso, frente a ataques que suceden en todo el mundo y de los cuales también, desgraciadamente, hemos sido testigos en los últimos tiempos en España, frente al señalamiento de autoridades judiciales, frente al debilitamiento de la arquitectura institucional, es necesario que alcemos, tal y como hace la World Jurist Association, tal y como lleva haciendo tantas décadas, Javier, la World Jurist Association, la voz del Estado de Derecho y, por tanto, el grito del rule of law como la clave, digo, de toda nuestra convivencia. Y para eso, nada mejor que tener símbolos, nada mejor que tener referentes, nada mejor que tener personas como Justice Kennedy, que son las que nos guían y nos ayudan en este camino. El homenaje que hoy se tributa a este juez, a este servidor público, a esta persona que ha hecho del servicio a los demás a través del derecho el motivo esencial de su vida, nos convoca a todos y por tanto también nos alienta y nos inspira a todos en el cumplimiento de nuestro deber y de nuestras funciones. El mensaje del cual acabamos de ser testigos, profundamente emocionante, creo que para todos los que hemos estado en esta sala, nos da la fuerza necesaria para poder seguir progresando y para que desde la World Jurist Association, así como la World Law Foundation, podáis seguir haciendo este trabajo por el que el conjunto de la sociedad siente, Javier, hacia vosotros una deuda impagable de gratitud e, insisto, más aún en los tiempos difíciles e incluso oscuros que estamos viviendo en numerosos lugares en el mundo. Y es que esta trayectoria de más de 30 años en la Corte Suprema de los Estados Unidos se puede entender única y exclusivamente de que cada hecho juzgado tiene circunstancias diferentes y por tanto no tiene un voto preconcebido y predeterminado, sino que hay que estudiar cada caso para que se cumpla el lema de la justicia, que es dar a cada uno lo suyo. Y por eso me gustaría expresarle al Justice Kennedy on behalf of the law-abiding city of Madrid, congratulations and many thanks for your work, your defense of liberty and your profound and independent belief in justice paved the way for the new generations of jurists who deeply believe in individual liberty and the rule of law. Es un homenaje, por tanto, no solo de la World Jurist Association, sino también de la ciudad de Madrid, siempre al juez Kennedy, pero también a todas aquellas personas que en cualquier lugar del mundo luchan por preservar nuestra democracia y nuestro Estado de Derecho, porque no hay esfuerzo en un mundo tan incierto como el que vivimos más encomiable que precisamente ese. Muchísimas gracias a todos.